Narrated in a calm, nostalgic tone. It was my first year of university. I just finished unpacking all of my stuff into my room. My family had just left. Beat. Slight pause. Tone shifts subtly. Mild curiosity. ***. Later that same day, my roommate finally arrived. And right from the get-go, I knew this kid was the most socially inept person I'd ever met. Slightly awkward tone, mimicking the memory. I introduced myself, I'm Dan, and stuck out my arm for a handshake. He paused, looked down at my hand, as if he didn't understand what a handshake even was. Then he laughed, and went, before giving me the weakest, most lifeless deadfish handshake imaginable. Dry sarcasm. Great start. Irritated tone. I had to ask him for his name, since he didn't even bother telling me when we shook hands. He said his name was Dale. I tried making small talk, but he only answered in yes or no. Occasionally, an awkward smile or a weird laugh slipped out. Quieter, building discomfort. Within minutes, we were just sitting on our beds, both on our laptops, not talking. Under breath, bitterly. I was already upset and started thinking about requesting a new roommate. Anyone would be better than Dale. Beat. Slight foreboding tone begins, ***. I thought Dale was just a really awkward kid, but I was wrong. So wrong. Tone lightens slightly. I met some other kids on my floor. They seemed cool, so that was good. Later that evening, I came back to the dorm after exploring campus. It was my first night. Beat. Uneasy tone creeping in, ***. And there was Dale, still sitting in the exact same position he was in when I left. Pause. I said, "Hey, what's up, Dale?" No response. Not that I was surprised. It was about 9:30. I didn't have anything to do, so I turned off the lamp on my side of the room and went to bed. Softer, more tense. But I didn't fall asleep. Not for a while. Dale stayed on his laptop until 3 o'clock in the morning. Only then did he finally shut it. And once he did, I knocked out almost immediately. Sudden shift, eerie whisper. But I woke up within the hour. Low, slow pace, building unease. The blinds in our room had been opened. Moonlight spilled in, casting long shadows across the walls. And in that cold, pale light, I saw Dale, sitting on the side of his bed, staring at me. Alarmed tone. I sat up, rubbed my eyes, and said, "Dale? What the hell are you doing?" Soft whisper, mimicking Dale. He whispered back, "Sorry," then laid back down. Pause. Tension lingers, ***. The next morning, Dale was already gone. It felt like the first time he'd left the room at all. Normal tone, transitioning. It was Saturday, the first Saturday of the year. Orientation day. Campus was full of energy. Mid-conversation tone. As our group walked past the school gardens, I heard a couple students up ahead whispering. Imitating them, confused. "Yo, what is that kid doing in there?" I looked over. And yeah, it was Dale. Low disbelief. He was literally sitting in the dirt, behind a patch of bushes, rubbing the bark of a tree. With his hand. Dry. The orientation leader didn't notice. If she had, she probably would have said something. Sighs. I didn't say anything either. Just walked by, silently. Eventually, I told the two students next to me that Dale was my roommate. You know, trying to start a conversation. Maybe make a couple friends. Light chuckle. They apologized to me. None of us really knew if it was okay to laugh or not, but we did. Shift to hopeful tone. I ended up making friends with those two kids. We even made plans to hang out that night. And, good news, when I got back to my dorm, I learned the school had found another roommate for me. Relieved tone. Things were finally turning around. That night, I left to meet up with my new friends. When I returned, eerie tone returns. Dale was sitting on the desk chair, facing the door. Caught off guard. I said, "Oh, hey, what's up?" He said, monotone mimic. "Nothing. Just like that." Suspicion growing. I sat down on my bed, opened my laptop. Then I noticed I'd forgotten to lock it. Realization sets in. All of my emails. They'd been opened. Some of them I knew I hadn't read yet. And a bunch of my personal folders had been accessed too. Beat. Cold, quiet certainty, asterisk asterisk. Dale. He must have snooped through my stuff. Backslash, narrated in a slow, suspicious tone. When I asked him if he'd been on my laptop, he immediately snapped, no. Backslash, sharp tone, too quick to be honest. Half a second, asterisk literally asterisk, after I even finished my question. Backslash, suspicious, calm but knowing. I could read him like a book. This creepy kid was absolutely going through my computer while I was out. I knew he did it, but I didn't pursue it. Backslash, exhausted tone. I was just ready to go to bed. As I started digging through my bed for my pajamas. Backslash, pause. Uneasy realization sets in, asterisk asterisk. I noticed something. My clothes had all been moved around. Backslash, low, internal voice. I didn't put them like that. Backslash, resigned. But I also knew I'd be out of there by tomorrow, for good. So, I didn't say anything. Backslash, slight pause. Dread begins to creep in, asterisk asterisk. Later that night, I woke up. Backslash, very soft, eerie tone. To the sound of a zipper. Backslash, beat. I sat up and saw Dale on the floor, going through my bag. Backslash, urgently tense. I turned on the lamp. This time, I confronted him. He froze, then looked up and said, I think you have my toothbrush by mistake. Backslash, flat disbelief. It was the closest thing to wits that kid had ever shown. Still, I knew he was lying, and I knew something was seriously wrong with him. Backslash, tense breath. But I couldn't get physical with him. Backslash, calm, steady tone. The next day, I moved into a new room in the same building. Met my new roommate. And thankfully, everything went well. Backslash, warming slightly. Sunday night, after having a decent conversation with my new roommate, who, while no social butterfly, was miles better than Dale. We both turned off the lights and went to bed. Backslash, return of unease. For the third night in a row. Backslash. I woke up. Backslash, pause. Then low and curious, asterisk asterisk, to a strange sound. A weird, clicking noise. It wasn't consistent, but I heard it, at least twice, every 30 seconds. Backslash, whispering suspicion. I got up, hoping to find. Backslash, nervous but curious tone. I hoped it was something innocent, like maybe a heavy bag pressing on a weak floorboard, or even a mouse. But as I scoped out the room, backslash, beat. Quiet realization building, asterisk asterisk. I realized the sound was actually coming from the other side of the door. The night light in the common area was always on. So when I looked through the peephole, backslash, pause, I could clearly see the top of someone's head. The scalp of the person standing right outside our door. They were looking down, so I couldn't see their face. Backslash, low and slow. But now that I was really paying attention, I realized the tiny clicking noises. They were coming from the doorknob. Backslash, tense whisper. I was sure someone was trying to unlock it. Backslash, breathless urgency. I grabbed my phone, dialed campus police. They showed up in under 5 minutes. Came into the common room. Only then did I finally feel safe enough to open the door. Backslash, pause. Then cold confirmation, asterisk asterisk. There they were. 2 officers. And Dale. Backslash, low intensity. In cuffs. Backslash, flat, knowing tone. I had a feeling it was him. I told them everything. That he'd been my former roommate. That he'd been going through my stuff. So I switched dorms. Only to find him now backslash. Trying to break into my new room. They took him away. I don't know what happened to him after that. Suspended for the semester? Expelled? No clue. All I know is, I never saw him again. Backslash, relieved, steady. I got through the rest of my university years like anybody else. Backslash, quiet reflection. But that nightmarish experience I had with Dale, it still pops into my head from time to time. Backslash, tone lightens. I went to Binghamton University for 2 years. And honestly, I ended up making a big group of friends there. We went out every weekend. One weekend, on a Friday night in October. Our group didn't really have any big plans. So it was just me and 2 of my closest friends. We decided to hang out in the school's nature preserve, by the lake. There was this little clearing on the far side. Kind of perfect for fires. It was out of view from the school and from campus security. Backslash, playful tone. Sometimes kids would go there to smoke pot, drink, do a bunch of other stuff. It wasn't super well known, and we liked it that way. But tonight, we kept it simple. Just brought a bunch of beers, lit a fire, and hung out. Having. Let me know when you're ready with the next part. and I'll continue in the exact same tone and format. Here's the next rewritten segment of your horror script. Naturally flowing narration with emotion cues, pronunciation pacing, and no bullet points or formatting breaks, just like before. What we referred to at the time as a bro chat was really just the three of us, laughing, drinking, and talking about absolutely nothing. As the night went on, time started to slip by quicker and quicker as the alcohol kicked in. Eventually, we were laughing so hard, one of my friends literally rolled off his seat and into the leaves. That's when my other friend stopped laughing and went, "Show." We all perked up, listened, and yeah, we heard it. The crunching of leaves and twigs. Out in the distance. Panic set in fast. We threw our bottles in the lake. We were all under 21, and it wasn't unheard of for campus police to wander through the woods on weekends to catch kids drinking or smoking. We stuffed the rest of the beers into a backpack. I was already moderately drunk, so my paranoia was definitely heightened. And honestly, that was probably true for all of us. The fire lit us up like targets. But this spot, it was so hidden, so far out. Nobody else ever really came out this deep into the woods. Still, it sounded like one person. Just one. Out there. /beat. Then sudden, sharp noise. ***. The crack of a tree branch breaking nearby made all three of us tense up hard. None of us were the bold, confrontational types. The kind of person who'd shout out into the darkness, "Hey, who's there?" So instead, we all just sat there. In silence. Shushing each other. We could hear it. Someone, or something, circling us. Moving in a curve around our little campsite. It literally felt like we were in the Blair Witch Project. These sounds, cracking branches, crunching leaves, they kept echoing in the near distance. At first, we laughed about it. Thought it was funny. But pretty soon, I wasn't laughing anymore. I was terrified. Out of nowhere, a huge thud made all three of us jump. A branch had landed right in the middle of our fire pit. And I saw it. I saw it get thrown, but it still took me a second to process what had just happened. One of my friends bolted, full-on sprinted into the woods. The other and I sat there, wide-eyed, half laughing, half frozen in shock. We couldn't tell yet if this was some kind of prank or not. Then, /sharp yell. My friend screamed in pain. He'd been struck in the face by another tree branch. I didn't even think. I just grabbed the backpack, pulled him up off the ground, and we ran. We ran like hell. When we finally made it to the road separating the preserve from campus, we stopped, gasped for air, /pause. Then quietly, tension rises again, ***. And then we heard them. Footsteps. Getting closer. Coming from behind us, from the woods. We ran again. Back to the dorms. When we got to our floor, we found our other friend already inside his room. Safe. We looked out of his window, facing the woods. And there was someone. Pacing. Back and forth. Just on the edge of the trees. Every time a car passed, they would slip back into the woods. Eventually, they disappeared. Back into the trees. We never saw them again. We ended up continuing our drinking session in the dorm. And within 10 minutes, we were laughing about it again. It wasn't until the next morning that we realized how terrifying that actually was. After that, we never went into those woods at night again. /tone resets, calm. This next part takes place during the first week of school. Freshman year. University of Iowa. I had just started to get comfortable with my new roommate. He was all in on rushing a fraternity, and rush week was starting soon. But the parties? They were already starting that Thursday. He didn't want to go alone, said it would be harder to meet people. So he asked me to tag along. I agreed. I wasn't interested in pledging, but I wasn't about to pass up a party. We planned to hit one frat on Thursday, then hop around to different houses on Friday and Saturday. That Thursday night, we were headed to one of the lowest-ranked frats on campus. Honestly, I think it was an underground one, not even recognized. But his logic? He wanted a fallback frat, in case the bigger houses didn't offer him a bid. We pulled up to this corner house, and if it weren't for the blasting music and the flood of parked cars, you would never guess it was a frat house. It looked like they just settled for the first house they could find. Ready for me to keep going with the next part? Just drop it in. Here's your next section, rewritten in the same natural narration style, with emotion cues, voice pacing, and no bullet points. Just clean storytelling voiceover flow. Perfectly fit for AI voice generation or human read. We knocked on the door, and were immediately greeted by this short, chubby guy in a sweaty white t-shirt holding a solo cup. Mild disgust. His shirt had stains under the arms and right across the belly. He just grinned and told us to come right in. The party was in this horribly dim, cramped living room. Probably 50 dudes all packed in shoulder to shoulder. It was hot as hell in there. Sweaty. Stuffy. And to make it worse, I think I saw maybe 2 girls the entire time. Neither of them remotely attractive. I gave the party a fair 20 minutes. Talked to one overweight foreign guy after another. All of them giving off the same awkward, antisocial energy. Eventually, I gave my roommate a wave, signaling I was ready to leave. But there was this big crowd of guys standing near the front door, so we decided to wait a little longer to avoid the awkwardness of walking out early. I kept drinking the cheap beer they were serving. I think I had 5 cups before I even started to feel a buzz. Then, this heavy guy approached me. He had a tiny bottle in his hand, held it out, smirking, and said, mocking tone, "That'll get you shit-faced." I fake laughed, thanked him, assuming he'd walk away. But he didn't. He just stood there, watching me, low, cautious, waiting for me to drink it. So, I did. It was maybe 2 shots worth of some hard liquor. Burn on the way down. The guy then started trying to talk to me, small talk. Weird energy. And every time I tried to shift away, or hinted I wasn't interested, he'd just pull me deeper into this one-sided conversation. Tension builds, slightly slurred tone. Things started to blur. My head got really dizzy. And the room, it was getting darker. And that's the last thing I remember. Quiet beat. Then soft, groggy tone, asterisk. I woke up, in a dark room. Lying in a bed. There was music playing, muffled, but definitely still coming from the party downstairs. So I knew I was still in the frat house. It was very dark. But I could make out a few things. Furniture, a small closet door, not much else. And then, even over the music, I heard it. The crinkle of a plastic bag. Sudden fear. Like someone stepped on it. In the closet. Urgent. I didn't wait. I bolted. Ran out of that room. Down the stairs. Back into the overcrowded living room. I found my roommate. Grabbed him. Pushed him straight out the front door. Past the same group of guys still standing in a circle near the entrance. Breathless. Tense. In the car. On the way back to campus. I told him what happened. I told him. I think I got drugged. He nearly called the cops. But I stopped him. Said it would be pointless. Foolish. Then he asked me something awkward. Were you taken advantage of? I didn't feel any pain. My clothes were still on. Everything was where it was supposed to be. So, I assumed not. When I checked the time, I realized I'd only been out for maybe 10 minutes. Whatever that guy gave me, it must have been a dud or something. Relieved tone. Thank God. That was my college experience at an underground, ghetto frat party. And honestly, it's still the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Tone resets, quieter reflection. I had a single dorm my first semester of sophomore year. It was tucked into the corner of the floor, kind of isolated. Secluded from the rest of the dorms. You had to turn a corner just to see my door. I liked it though. It gave me privacy. I could still hang out with friends, bring people over. But when it was time to study or sleep, it was quiet. A few weeks into the semester, I was studying for a big bio exam, and the silence was broken by a noise. Barely audible whisper tone. A light tapping. At first, I didn't even notice it. It was so soft. I sat up and called out, "Come in." But the door didn't open. So I got up, opened the door. Brief pause, unsettled tone. Nobody was there. I stepped out, walked around the corner to check down the hall. Nothing. Flat suspicion. Somebody was obviously messing with me. I went back to my bed, continued studying. This time, I left the door open. But nobody came back. The next night, just a few minutes after I turned off the lamp to go to bed. Knocking sound effect tone. The tapping returned. Only this time, it wasn't soft. It was louder. More like knocking. Calm but firm voice. "Who is it?" I called out. Silence. Beat. No answer. The knocking stopped again. I got out of bed quickly, opened the door. My little private corridor was, once again, completely empty. I ran the 10 feet to the corner of the hall, looked down the main hallway. Still, nobody. The next morning, I asked around, talked to some of the other kids in the dorm, asked if anyone had been messing with me. Everyone said no. Next night, suspense builds. I woke up after maybe 3 hours of sleep. Urgent knocking tone. There it was again. Knocking. Louder than ever. I just laid there for a moment, debating. Open the door? Or don't? Breath. Surge of courage. Asterisk. Finally, with a rush of nerve, I jumped up. Opened the door. No one was there. But this time, I didn't stop there. I sprinted down the tiny corridor outside my room. Turned the corner. And that's when I saw it. Sharp tension. The back of someone. Just barely disappearing behind the far corner of the hallway. I took off. Ran as fast as I could. Turned into the hallway, they vanished down. Just in time to see a door closing at the end. But it wasn't a dorm room. It was a bathroom. Building tension. I didn't hesitate. Shoved the door open. Hard. Dark. The lights were off. I flipped the switch. Nervous breath. No one was there. My heart was pounding, but I was still determined. I stepped inside and checked the bathroom stalls. Both doors were shut. Quiet. Fearful curiosity. I dropped down to my hands and knees. Peered underneath. That's when I saw them. 2 heavy black boots. Right there, under the stall. I swallowed hard. Took a deep breath. And pushed the stall door open. Confused tone. I was stunned. The boots were just sitting there. But no one was wearing them. And then, low, eerie sound. I heard it. A giggle. Not a child's. Not a woman's. It was old. The kind of laugh you'd imagine from a deranged old man. Sudden shift. Panic. Whatever courage I had completely vanished. I was terrified. I ran. I ran all the way back to my room, slammed the door shut, jumped into bed, and immediately started texting every friend I had. Of course, nobody responded. Everyone was asleep. That night, the knocking came one more time. I didn't move. I ignored it. It went on for 30 seconds. Then finally, quietly, it stopped. The next day, I asked everyone again. Tried to figure out if anyone else had heard anything. But no, nobody had. Everyone swore they weren't pranking me. And honestly, they seemed sincere. I don't know why this person chose me, or who it was, but based on the boots, and that chilling laughter I heard. Quiet, disturbed tone. It wasn't a student. It was an older man. And that's what still disturbs me the most.